After we got back together, I reined in all my little tempers. I became especially careful. Sam didn't like me playing games. He thought it was childish. So I deleted the game and sold my account. When I made a mistake at work, I was so scared afterward that I cried. But I still didn't use my relationship with Sam to beg him for help. I treated him with such distance that we seemed like strangers. Even when everyone in the company flattered me and jokingly called me the boss's wife, I no longer showed off. I desperately denied the relationship. But in the middle of everyone's sighs and whispers, he suddenly dragged me into a corner and asked in a wounded tone, "Victoria, why do I feel like you don't like me at all anymore?" Chapter 1. In the office, Sam was chatting and laughing with the new investor. From the look of it, they were very close. I lowered my eyes and adjusted my emotions. I didn't shove the door open carelessly like before and make Sam and the investor unhappy. Instead, I obediently knocked on the heavy glass door. A crisp knocking sound rang out outside. Sam lifted his eyes when he saw clearly that the person outside was me. His expression changed drastically. After all, this was not the first time I had ruined company business because of jealousy. The frightened and disgusted look on his face also pierced my eyes brutally. So it turned out, the old me had annoyed him that much. I took a step back in fear. I was terrified that I would do something wrong again and make Sam angry. Not far away, by the workstations, several colleagues were laughing so hard they doubled over, as if they were discussing someone. Their voices were neither loud nor quiet, but they happened to reach my ears perfectly. "I'm dying. This delusional plain Jane is going to cause trouble for the boss again. Looks like she won't be satisfied until she ruins our company. Have those two broken up or not? I really want the gossip." Judging from how heartbroken Victoria looked before, did they already break up? Who knows? But if they did break up, that's good news for everyone. We won't have to clean up this woman's mess anymore. Why don't we make a bet? Let's see whether this delusional woman will throw a huge tantrum. I bet 50. The office is going to turn into total chaos in a minute. Actually, I shouldn't have seen the scene at all, but someone begged me to make sure I handed the document in my hands to Sam for his signature. They even scared me by saying, "This contract is very important. If it doesn't get signed today, Sam might have to pay a huge amount of money." I was terrified. I didn't think about why that person wasn't delivering the contract themselves. I stumbled my way over and knocked on the office door. Only then did I discover that there was a beautiful woman in Sam's office. At that moment, I understood the malicious look on that person's face. Chapter 2. Sam had many investors, most of whom were women. Before, there had been one who relied on being older to take outrageous advantage of Sam. Either she would suddenly get dizzy and ask him to hold her, or she would say she wasn't feeling well and ask if he could take her home. When the contact became a little too intimate, Sam blushed and immediately took several steps back. But the investor said with a grin, "What are you doing? I'm so much older than you. Even robbing the cradle isn't done like this." At that time, Sam's company was just starting out and had no real capital. He could only endure it, but I couldn't stand watching it. Pretending to be Sam's girlfriend, I got into a fierce argument with that investor at the company. We grabbed each other by the hair. "Have you no shame? Taking liberties with my boyfriend? You're old enough for him to call you mom. Have some dignity, for God's sake." Those few words angered her so much that she pulled her investment on the spot and quit. Afterward, I lowered my head and apologized to Sam. I confessed that I really hadn't been able to hold back. If he wanted to fire me, that was fine too, as long as he gave me a little more severance pay. The important thing was that the hairstyle I had paid for had been messed up. It had cost a lot of money. I thought he would blame me. At the very least, I thought he would issue a company-wide criticism of me. But in the end, Sam smiled, his eyes full of admiration for me. He even asked if I was willing to be his girlfriend. I agreed, but Sam was a boss with money and good looks, and he had countless pursuers. I was nothing more than an ordinary woman who spent her paycheck as soon as she earned it. Many colleagues were saying that Sam only liked me now because I was something new. Once he had had enough fun, he would kick me aside. At first, I didn't believe it either. But Sam went on business trips more and more often, and every day he had drinking engagements. There was even the scent of another perfume on his clothes. Perhaps it was inferiority and possessiveness at work. From then on, I began to rely on his love and act recklessly, whether they were real investors or not. As long as their relationship went beyond that of ordinary colleagues, I would go confront them. It made the other partner companies suffer terribly. One after another, they kept their distance. Sam was also very angry. He felt that I was no longer as sensible as I had been before. But whenever he said something harsh, I would feel wronged and start crying before I could even say anything in rebuttal. Seeing me so heartbroken, Sam choked on his words. He never brought it up again, until one evening banquet, when I ruined everything. Sam finally couldn't take it anymore and broke up with me. Chapter 3. I walked into the office. I saw that Sam was choosing earrings for the investor in front of him. There were 3 pairs in total, all kinds of colored gemstones. They looked quite expensive. I put down the contract and said nothing. Then I turned around and closed the office door properly behind me. I pretended not to see the shock in Sam's eyes. After I left, that investor tapped the table with her finger in amusement. I heard Sam's girlfriend gets jealous over nothing, but from the looks of it today, rumors aren't necessarily true. Hearing this, Sam stopped choosing. His gaze kept following Victoria as she walked out of the office. Subconsciously, he felt that something was wrong. Shouldn't she have made a scene, arguing that she had never received a gift like that either? But Victoria didn't. She had probably learned her lesson. Sam comforted himself like this. At the same time, he felt relieved. She had finally become a little more sensible. Chapter 4. Seeing me walk calmly out of the office, the colleagues beside me all opened their mouths wide, looking as if they had learned something terrifying and could hardly believe it. Several of them exchanged glances. Then Lily, who was closest to me, poked my shoulder and smiled ingratiatingly. Victoria, there seems to be a woman in Sam's office. Did you see her? I heard she's really beautiful. Or Sam even pursued her before. I thought about it. She really was quite beautiful. Fair skin, double eyelids, big eyes, and a very gentle aura around her. She was a great beauty, so I nodded subconsciously. She's very beautiful. Lily widened her eyes and suddenly raised her voice. You're not angry? Only then did I belatedly react. These people were expecting me to make a scene, then they would turn the matter into gossip to enjoy over tea and meals. I'm not angry. Rather than discussing whether an investor is beautiful or not here, you should pay more attention to the progress of your own work. My voice was somewhat flat, and no emotion could be heard in it. But the others were finally not that stupid. They could hear the threat in my words. They glared at me resentfully before turning back to their workstations. Actually, I understood. These female colleagues who loved gossip were also attracted to Sam. Otherwise, they wouldn't gossip every day and set traps for me. Among them, the one who liked Sam the most was Lily, who often spoke badly of me behind my back and spread rumors. Back then, when Sam and I were in a Cold War, she was also the first to notice that something was wrong. In front of the whole company, she pretended to ask casually, Victoria, you and Sam couldn't have broken up, right? It was precisely this sentence that made my insecure self completely collapse. I went to Sam and humbly begged him to get back together. Unfortunately, Sam felt that I had not learned my lesson. He still coldly brought up breaking up. I regretted my previous actions even more. So after we got back together this time, I became extraordinarily cautious. I was terrified of making Sam unhappy. I was afraid he would leave me again. Chapter 5. After work, I wanted to skin a shared bike and ride home. After all, although Sam and I had gotten back together, he had not yet said anything about living together. The two of us were still living separately, without getting his approval. I didn't dare bring it up rashly. I had just unlocked the bike when Sam unexpectedly honked the car horn and stopped me. The car window rolled down. When I saw Sam's breathtakingly handsome face, I called out respectfully, "Boss." Hearing this, a trace of surprise flashed through Sam's eyes. We had been together for a long time. I had never taken the initiative to call him boss. He always said that at the company. I shouldn't call him by his name. I should call him by his title. I wasn't used to it. Every time, I would sweetly call Sam by his name. He couldn't refuse me, so he had gone along with me. But today, I listened to him. Get in, Sam ordered anyway. After receiving the instruction, I bent down and opened the back door of the car. The car drove smoothly, but the atmosphere inside was terrifyingly quiet. At a traffic light, he stopped the car, pinched his tired brow, and suddenly began explaining to me, when we were in school, I did pursue my senior, but she made it clear she wasn't interested in me. So I gave up. I gave her a gift today because she's getting engaged to my good friend. At the end, Sam added, Victoria, don't overthink it. This was the first time Sam had explained something so calmly. In his words, it was easy to hear a hint of helplessness. In the past, every time, we had to have a huge fight before he would impatiently speak. I've already explained it. What else do you want? So, I had not planned to ask. Since I understood everything anyway, why bother doing something unnecessary? Sam, I'm not overthinking it. I was looking at the still scenery outside the window, somewhat distracted. I hadn't clearly heard exactly what Sam had said. I only heard him say that his senior was getting engaged, so I nodded in response. Giving a friend an engagement gift really was nothing. It was only right. I also did not suspect him because of this matter. Later, the scenery outside the car window swept past with the speed of the wind. I was focused on the road conditions. I did not notice at all that Sam's expression was becoming uglier and uglier. Chapter 6. When we passed by my rented apartment, I wanted to ask Sam to stop, to let me get out here, but he said nothing, and I didn't dare ask. I spent the whole ride frightened and uneasy until we arrived at Sam's home. When the door opened, the familiar decorations were still there. I stood at the entrance, staring blankly at my slightly dirty shoes. I didn't know whether I should go straight in, or ask Sam to help me find shoe covers. By the time Sam finished showering, half an hour had passed. I was still standing at the door, hesitating. Seeing the statue standing at the entrance, Sam was stunned for a moment before pulling me onto the sofa. Like before, he prepared to crouch down and take off my shoes for me. And no, maybe not. I sprang to my feet and stammered, I'll do it myself. Sam hesitated for a moment, then looked at me searchingly. Didn't you always make me put your shoes on and take them off for you? Even at the company, you were no exception. I nervously clenched the corner of my clothes. I remembered the mocking words of the company colleagues. Making the boss personally serve me, what right did I have? No, they're a little dirty. I'll do it myself. You go cook. Hearing the familiar tone, Sam didn't say anything more and turned into the kitchen. When I was with him, my persona was that I didn't step into the kitchen and didn't bother with housework. He spoiled me very much. After rubbing my head and calling me a little lazybones, he took on the responsibility of cooking, and I exploited Sam even more ruthlessly. It was either delicacies from land and sea or other difficult dishes. I found all kinds of ways to make things hard for him. But now, when Sam poked his head out from the kitchen and asked what dishes I wanted to eat, I shook my head as if startled. Anything is fine. After getting my answer, Sam froze for a few seconds, then silently returned to the kitchen. At the dining table, the dishes were still all my favorites. A strong, spicy aroma filled the air. I sat stiffly to the side, not knowing whether I should use the serving chopsticks or the pair that belonged only to me. The serving chopsticks were right in front of me, but my personal chopsticks were very far away. Sam was a clean freak. I didn't dare use them. Sam picked up food for me and asked in confusion, Victoria, eat. These are all your favorites. He also brought me the serving chopsticks while he was at it. I instantly let out a breath of relief. Luckily, I didn't have to struggle over it anymore. Chapter 7. Sam was very good to me. There was none of the oppression that came from someone in a position of power. He would remember my preferences again and again, patiently confirming exactly what I liked. Before we got together, I once confessed that in my previous relationship, I had always been the one giving, and that I would never be as sensible as I had been last time. He smiled and gently rubbed my head. You can be however you want. It was precisely this assurance that he would always have my back that made me become more and more lawless. I even started acting like the boss's wife at the company. After Sam's friends found out, they often teased him for finding a girlfriend who wasn't a rich young lady, yet dreamed of being one. Some people even said to me directly in private, "You and Sam aren't suitable for each other." Yes, They weren't advising us to break up. They were directly pointing out the gap between the two of us. He was a rich second-generation heir starting a company to experience life. I was nothing more than an ordinary graduate. I didn't even graduate from a decent second-tier university. Back then, I didn't know my own limits. I was in love with nothing but a heart full of passion. I didn't care about family background at all. With a cold face, I told Sam not to associate anymore with those people who spoke badly of me. Because I knew Sam listened to me. He would bring me to banquets. He would teach me again and again how to recognize luxury goods, then buy them for me, in front of everyone. He admitted that he was my boyfriend, and that in the future, he would become my fiancé too. No one thought well of us, but I felt fearless because I had something to rely on. Sam's love was on me. Nothing else mattered. But now, everything was different. I had recognized the gap between Sam and me, and I had also realized that without him, I couldn't make it. I couldn't do anything. Chapter 8. After dinner. I sat on the sofa as if on pins and needles. I didn't know what to do. Besides, everything in Sam's home was very expensive. I didn't dare touch anything carelessly. After Sam finished tidying up the room, he subconsciously pulled me into his arms and asked, "Why aren't you playing games anymore?" After all, after work every day, I would play games so obsessively that I forgot to eat and sleep. I wouldn't even see the messages in the work group. It was always Sam who saw the mentions in the group and helplessly interrupted me. He was different from me. Sam had a fulfilling work life. He had his own company. He didn't feel anxious. But my emotions and feelings could only be vented through games. He couldn't understand that. He often thought I was wasting time, and that I was very childish. Sam didn't like me playing games. So after we got back together, I quickly deleted the game and sold my game account at a low price. The person who bought my account was very kind. They promised to help me keep everything from before. Thinking of this, my breathing suddenly stopped for an instant, and I searched for an excuse in a panic. I don't like them anymore. As if sensing my stiffness and nervousness, Sam suddenly raised his phone, brought it close to my ear, and said in a low voice, "Then I'll play with you." The tingling, numbing feeling made me uncomfortable, not to mention Sam's inexplicable change. He had never liked games. If he didn't like them, why force himself? I hesitated for a moment before explaining. "I sold the account. Sorry, I can't play with you anymore." Hearing this, the expression on Sam's face instantly became complicated. There was confusion and incomprehension. There was also a trace of soft heartache. He turned sideways, gripped my shoulders tightly with both hands, and forced me to look at him. "Why? Victoria, why do I always feel that after we got back together, you've changed so much? Before, what you loved most was playing games. What you loved most was eating spicy food. What you loved most was throwing your weight around at the company. What you loved most was staking your claim. What you loved most was..." Perhaps because his emotions were somewhat agitated, Sam unconsciously used too much force. Several red finger marks instantly appeared on the shoulders he had gripped tightly, and the pain made them go numb. After I sucked in a sharp breath, Sam finally realized that he had failed to control his strength and had hurt me. He lowered his head in dejection and apologized. I didn't explain anything. I gathered my courage and kissed his face. The matter between a man and a woman finally moved the topic past that conversation. Chapter 9. Afterward, I lay on the bed, staring blankly at the bedroom ceiling. I was very sleepy, but no matter what, I couldn't fall asleep. Subconsciously, I began observing the bedroom. On the bed curtain to the left, there were elements I liked. The wallpaper directly in front of me had been decorated according to my exclusive design. Everything here seemed unchanged, and yet everything seemed to have changed. At some point, Sam's phone rang. I turned my head and glanced at it. The contact was that rich young lady I had once mocked and ridiculed. She was also Sam's childhood sweetheart, Elena. I counted the time. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 60 seconds. Sam was sleeping deeply. There was even a smile on his face. He was not woken up at all. After the call went unanswered for 60 seconds, the person on the other end seemed unwilling to give up. A text message quickly popped up. The note he had saved for her was, "Elena." I didn't read it. but I knew it must be something very important, so I helped shake Sam awake. He frowned, but after seeing the contents of the text, his expression changed drastically. After comforting me with just a few words, he went out in the middle of the night. Before leaving, Sam paused for a moment, looking somewhat hesitant. Victoria, I interrupted him too quickly. I'm not angry, really. If I had known earlier that Elena was so important to Sam, important enough that she could cause us to have a cold war and break up, then I absolutely would not have paid any attention to Elena's provocation. Absolutely not. Unfortunately, there are no ifs in this world. Sam and I had indeed broken up, and the fuse had been Elena, who openly provoked me at the banquet while wearing the gift my boyfriend had carefully chosen. Even though Sam insisted that it was not a gift from him, the way he had darkened his face and said I was unreasonable was still deeply branded into my mind. It made me reflect all the time on whether I had really done something wrong. I shouldn't have acted so fearlessly just because I had something to rely on. I shouldn't have relied on Sam liking me and done whatever I wanted. I lowered my eyes, my gaze fixed tightly on the car speeding away outside the window. The answer was right there. Chapter 10. I didn't sleep all night, with 2 huge dark circles under my eyes. I clocked in for work right on time. After sitting down at my seat, I looked up and glanced at the dimly lit CEO's office. Sam, who never arrived late or left early, did not come in today. He was probably still busy. After I logged into WeChat on my computer, a flood of messages instantly popped up. They were all from Sam. Only then did I remember that I had set my phone to do not disturb in silent mode. I couldn't receive any messages at all, because no message really counted as important. Sam explained that last night, Elena had wanted to kill herself. That was why he had rushed out in a panic. He had taken Elena to the hospital. Originally, after dropping her off, he had planned to go home, but after Elena woke up and couldn't see him, she started making a scene again, saying she wanted to kill herself. Sam had no way to stand by and do nothing. He could only be forced to stay by her side for the entire night. If this had been before, by now I would definitely have cursed Sam out. I would have scolded him for not even being able to see through a pretentious coquette's little tricks. Then, angrily, I would have dragged him back. After that, I would have viciously cursed Elena's entire family line, before I could finally vent my anger. But now, things were different. If before, being with Sam had only made me feel like I was in an ordinary relationship, then after we broke up, I finally realized in shock that there would never be another person who treated me as well as Sam did. My liking for him had also long since turned into love through all those days and nights spent together. Now, the person becoming distant and unpredictable was Sam. The person worried about losing their lover was me. The person living in constant fear was me. Likewise, in this relationship, I had long since lost the right to choose. All that remained was the right to be chosen, just like Elena. So, when I saw Sam's panicked yet careful explanation, almost subconsciously, I comforted him. It's okay. I understand. Next time, you don't have to explain so much. After a pause, my fingers suddenly froze in midair above the keyboard. I was stunned for a long time before replying with another sentence. I trust you. After typing those few words, it felt as if all the strength in my body had been drained. Chapter 11. Even by noon, Sam still hadn't returned to the company. I was somewhat worried, but I didn't dare ask him on my own initiative, so I could only force myself to sit at my workstation. Who would have thought that in the very next second, the department manager would storm over and slam a version of a proposal hard onto my computer desk? She pointed at my forehead and scolded me. Victoria, look at this proposal you made. Forget the ridiculous number of typos, you even wrote the names of Party A and Party B in the wrong places. Who exactly recruited you into this company? Did you come here without a brain? Do you know that after Party A saw this version, they were so angry they tore up the contract on the spot? The sudden scolding stunned me where I stood. I even forgot to defend myself. Only after the manager left did I belatedly realize that this proposal was not made by me. At the time, Sam and I were in a cold war. I was depressed. I had asked for several days off, but the manager rejected it. Work is work, and life is life. Please don't bring your emotions into the workplace. He had already disliked all the gossip surrounding Sam and me. feeling that I had corrupted the company atmosphere. It was Lily who had taken the initiative to shoulder the task for me. After the manager left, I thanked her. I felt that I had wrongly blamed her at the banquet. After all, it was Lily who had egged me on, saying that she had seen the necklace Sam gave on Elena's neck. At first, I had been half doubtful. It wasn't until Elena began provoking me at the scene when no one was around that I believed Lily's words. I got into an argument with her, and that indirectly led to Sam and me breaking up. Now, thinking back on it, she had clearly done it on purpose. I turned sideways and just happened to meet Lily's expression of watching a good show. Perhaps she saw the blame in my eyes. She waved her hand and smiled teasingly. Come on, girl, who knows that I made the proposal for you? You made the manager unhappy. You'd better worry about your own job. Otherwise, why don't you go cry to Sam? Maybe, for the sake of your past relationship, he'll arrange an easy position for you. Hearing this, I, whose fingers had been trembling with anger, froze for a moment. Then I shook my head firmly. He won't. When Sam and I had just started dating. Even though my relationship with Sam was far from ordinary, the manager did not flatter me because of it, nor did she turn a blind eye to my work. On the contrary, she became even stricter. Even the slightest mistake would be pointed out publicly in a meeting. Back then, I was proud and arrogant. I couldn't accept criticism, so I clung to Sam endlessly. I asked if he could help me, even if it was just teaching me a little bit of work experience. But Sam refused very seriously. Victoria, everyone has their own work, and everyone's responsibilities are different. If you can't accept the manager's criticism, you can try changing to a new job. I was shocked by Sam's inaction. I couldn't understand why he was my boyfriend but couldn't help me. Only later did I understand. Sam did not like using connections to get special treatment, even if I was his girlfriend. Chapter 12. Because of that proposal full of mistakes, the other company made it clear that they would not cooperate with our company again for the next 5 years. The results that many colleagues had worked hard for an entire month to achieve went down the drain. The promised quarterly bonus was gone too. I understood that this matter had started because of me, even without Lily's help. Given how depressed I was at the time, there was no telling what kind of mess I might have caused. Looking at the company's huge loss, I wiped my tears on the rooftop in lingering fear. Again and again, I called the client company. I asked for a chance to explain, but the receptionist on the other side kept refusing on the grounds that the CEO was in a meeting. I'm sorry. Boss Nestor is in a meeting. If there is anything else, please contact us later. While trying every possible way to contact Nestor, I also sold the luxury goods Sam had given me to make up for the loss. This was the company Sam had built with his own hands. It could not be destroyed in mine. Chapter 13. The boss's wife really does have her ways. Huh? She corrected the mistake so quickly. No wonder people say she's got tricks up her sleeve. Nestor is famously difficult in the industry. Yet with the proposal made into that kind of mess, she could still turn the situation around. TSK. 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 When Lily saw that the wages had been paid on time, she guessed that I had obtained Nestor's forgiveness, so she brought a group of people with her and started praising me in a way meant to set me up for a fall. If it had been the old me, perhaps I would have secretly shown off. Then I would have ended up spending a fortune treating everyone. But Sam didn't like this. He had said it many times, but I had never taken it seriously. This breakup, however, had taught me a profound lesson, so I stood up and denied it desperately in a voice everyone could hear. No, I'm not the boss's wife. Sam only appreciates me. That's all. As soon as I finished speaking, my colleagues tacitly began working and fell silent. I didn't understand why, until I turned around and saw Sam standing at the door, his eyes full of hurt. He had heard everything. Chapter 14. In the hospital, Sam stared at those few short words, lost in thought in a rare moment. No matter what he did, he always looked serious. He had never zoned out before. Sam, what are you doing? Hurry up and peel my apple, even if I don't like eating it. I only agreed reluctantly because you said you'd help me. Elena impatiently tugged at the bandage around her wrist. She ordered Sam around. That sentence finally snapped him back to reality. Sam had a good enough temper. He said nothing and continued obediently taking care of the patient. But in his heart, he kept thinking about Victoria, thinking about Victoria's changes. He kept losing focus. The sharp blade was instantly stained with blood. Seeing that Sam could even cut his own finger while peeling an apple, Elena immediately flew into a rage. Sam, are you sick or something? You can't even do something this simple properly. How are you supposed to inherit my family's company in the future? How are you supposed to marry me? Who said I'm going to marry you? Before Sam even had time to treat his wound, he heard this bolt from the blue. He looked displeased at the spoiled young lady lying in bed. Impossible to take care of no matter what he did. Sam had always known that Elena looked down on him, but because their two families had been close for generations, it was impossible for him to watch Elena die with his own eyes. I don't care. Anyway, you have to marry me. You were the one who said you would treat me well for the rest of your life. Now I'm just hospitalized and you're already showing your true colors. Huh? Hearing this, Elena became so emotional that she started throwing things. One by one, she threw the objects within reach at Sam's head. Something, he didn't know what, had sharp corners. The moment it hit his forehead, blood flowed everywhere. Only then did Elena, realizing she had gone too far, finally no fear. She explained blankly. Who told you not to dodge? At that moment, Sam felt that he had been wrong, terribly wrong. Before, he had always felt that Victoria and Elena were alike. Not only did they look alike, but their personalities were similar too. So at the company, Sam had noticed at first glance this young woman who had her own style in the way she spoke and acted. Victoria feared neither heaven nor earth. Although her personality was a little spoiled and willful, she never hurt herself. At most, she only made him admit their relationship, or use a little special treatment through connections. The way she usually bared her claws and brandished her teeth made it seem as if she regarded him as some kind of treasure. It was very cute. So no matter how big the trouble Victoria caused was, he would hide it and solve it himself. Except for that banquet, when Sam had been absolutely certain. Victoria did not believe him. She got into a fight with Elena, hearing the mocking laughter coming from all directions. Sam finally failed to hold himself back. He snapped at Victoria. He even brought up breaking up in a fit of anger, when Victoria cried and asked him if they could please not break up. Sam's heart had hurt too, but Victoria had to learn a lesson. She couldn't keep being so immature forever. After they got back together, she had indeed changed, but the person who couldn't adapt the most had instead become him. The person he liked had originally been that Victoria who did things without thinking of the consequences. Impulsive yet brave. Not the current Victoria, who swallowed every grievance to keep the peace. He should not have forced her. Victoria didn't like Elena. Then he would no longer have contact with Elena either. Victoria wanted honesty between them. Then he should tell everyone. After figuring this out, Sam stood up coldly and threw away the apple stained with blood from his own fingertip. He said to Elena word by word, Victoria doesn't like you. I can let go of what happened at that banquet, but I hope you never appear in front of us again. Ignoring Elena's hysterics, Sam rushed back to the company impatiently, but what entered his ears together with the wind was Victoria's timid denial of their relationship. No, I'm not the boss's wife. Sam only appreciates me. That's all. Those words were like tearing open all his wounds and pouring cold wind inside. Chapter 15. Sam pressed me against the boss's chair in the office. His eyes were a little red. There were deep dark circles beneath his eyelids. It seemed he hadn't slept all night either. I wanted to explain what I had just said about denying our relationship, but the moment I opened my mouth, I remembered that Sam didn't like making it public, so I closed my mouth again. This time, I should not have done anything wrong. The atmosphere froze for a moment. The person who broke the silence first was Sam. He tightened his grip around my wrist, and the redness in his eyes grew deeper and deeper. His voice was inexplicably hoarse. Victoria, can you stop changing? Let's be the same as before. No matter what you do, I'll support you. That manager is always bullying you, right? I'll fire her to help you vent your anger. I won't bother with Elena anymore either. She can do whatever she wants. If she comes to bother me again, just curse her away like you used to. It was my fault. I shouldn't have brought up breaking up with you. I shouldn't have been harsh to you. Can you stop being so sensible? Sam said so many things, but from the very beginning, I didn't really hear them clearly. Was he dissatisfied with my changes? I waited in fear for a very long time. Finally, I managed to cut in. It's okay. If you want to go find Elena, then go. I won't be angry. I know you don't like her. I trust you. With this explanation, Sam should finally be able to understand. No, Victoria, after we got back together this time, I've always felt that you changed. I wanted you to be sensible, but I didn't want you to stop caring about everything. Your attitude always makes me feel. Sam's body trembled slightly. He looked at me. Only after a moment did he force himself to say it. It always makes me feel like you don't like me that much anymore, and that you don't care about me that much anymore either. When women come in and out of my office, you don't care. After going home, you acted so restrained and unfamiliar. I saw all of it, but that was your home too. Even when Elena came looking for me late at night, you unexpectedly didn't argue with me. All of this gave me the illusion that you no longer loved me. I remained silent and did not answer, but my thoughts returned to a certain day after the breakup. That day, I hesitated for a long time. In the end, I still sold the game account I had created back in high school. The buyer added me on WeChat and asked curiously, "Can you really bear to let it go? I saw that you seem to have played for a very long time. Did something happen at home?" I thought about it, then answered honestly, "He doesn't like it." The other person seemed to have heard some kind of joke. "That's not necessary, girl. After you sell this account, you'll never find another account you like this much. But no one will treat me better than he does. What about yourself? Won't you treat yourself well?" Seeing the message the other person sent, I froze. At that time, all I could think about was getting back together with Sam. So I forced myself to close the chat window and stop thinking about that question. But what about now? I asked myself, did I still like Sam? The answer was yes, but I loved myself more. Without Sam, I would still meet a better version of myself. Closing my eyes, I took a deep breath and met Sam's gaze. "Sam, I really don't like you that much anymore. After getting back together with you, I became less and less like myself. And likewise, I don't like this version of myself." Chapter 16. Regarding my resignation. The happiest person was none other than Lily. This time, she was sincerely kind enough to help me pack my things. "Oh, Victoria, this pile of junk of yours is finally leaving. I told you, once Sam saw your true nature, he wouldn't like you anymore. You didn't believe it and insisted on humiliating yourself." I maintained a dignified smile. I said one word to her, "Scram." As for what happened with the proposal last time, I had already sent everything to Sam and the manager. Whether they believed me or not didn't matter. In any case, I had spoken the truth. The rest was their business. When I was about to leave, Sam came to see me off, lowering his head in silence in a rare manner. After watching me restore his home bit by bit to how it had originally been, he finally couldn't hold back and asked in a hoarse voice, "Does it have to be like this?" I froze for a moment. Then I smiled and answered, "It has to be like this, in keeping with the principle of never letting myself suffer a loss." Sam transferred tens of thousands of yuan to me in order to keep those cheap decorations. Looking at the money constantly entering my little savings account, I was overjoyed. I had never been as happy as I was today. When I was with Sam, I always felt that he was very good, and that I was not worthy of him. My inferiority and possessiveness made me unreasonable. When Sam and I were in a cold war, I begged like crazy for us to get back together, lowering myself and disregarding my dignity. After Sam and I got back together, I likewise put Sam's thoughts first. I suppressed my own personality and became cautious and careful. I was terrified that Sam would bring up breaking up again. I lived every day in fear and anxiety. But this kind of love was not what I wanted. Fortunately, I did not wrong myself again. Chapter 17. When Sam passed by the pantry, he unexpectedly overheard a conversation. There were too many people in the company, and he couldn't recognize them all. But Sam could not be more familiar with Elena's voice. "That woman called Victoria has finally broken up with Sam, but he still doesn't want to marry me. Hurry up and think of another way." Lily silently rolled her eyes before putting on an act and coaxing her. My dear young lady, didn't you already achieve your goal last time when you secretly bought an identical necklace to provoke Victoria? Don't tell me you're only good at breaking people up. But when it comes to seducing someone, there's nothing I can do. Cut it out. Elena sneered. If you hadn't secretly whispered things into Victoria's ear, if you hadn't taken a photo of the necklace Sam hid in his office, would I have been able to drive a wedge between the two of them? Sam did not listen to the rest. He had never thought there was another hidden story behind what happened that time, nor had he ever imagined that someone in the company was actually colluding with Elena. After the anger passed, there was a deep sense of powerlessness. Sam had always felt that aside from not being sensible enough, Victoria had no flaws. But it was precisely this one small flaw that became the reason the two of them fell apart. Sam often felt that Victoria was immature, that she got jealous over nothing, but he had never thought about Victoria's situation, never cared whether she had a sense of security. He had thought it would be enough as long as he gave her enough affection. It was his fault. He had not trusted Victoria wholeheartedly. He had not stood completely by her side. Opening his phone, Sam tapped into the chat box of the contact pinned at the top of WeChat. He typed and deleted the words over and over again. In the end, only one sentence remained. I'm sorry. And a large money transfer. That was the money Victoria had gotten from selling the luxury goods. Such a huge incident had happened at the company, yet no one had informed him, the CEO. Instead, they had made a low-level employee bear the responsibility. He truly did not know how to say it out loud. The other side accepted it very quickly. After sending a cute puppy sticker, she finally replied with words, "Thank you. No getting back together." Seeing this message, Sam didn't know whether to laugh or cry, perhaps. From the moment he learned that Victoria had made a mistake at work but had not come to him right away, instead silently shouldering everything on her own, Sam had already understood that the two of them could not go back. He put down his phone and silently thought to himself, in the future, there would never again be a heroine like Victoria to protect him. Losing Victoria was his loss.